All praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahawashi, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash.
All right, shalom, brothers and sisters in this truth. I'm your brother, Mr. LJ, coming to you again with another lesson. Lord willing, this will be edifying to those of you who are tuning in. And as you can see right now here in Great Babylon, the headlines are constantly tooting the line of the unvaccinated as the precursor to this pandemic that's continuously going on here in Great Babylon, to the point to where they are taking away the freedoms from those that want to comply. And then those who are complying are also finding themselves in a lot of distress. In the meantime, around the globe, we have Iran and Israel contemplating on engaging in war that can eventually erupt into World War III, which those of us who are in the truth understand that is biblical, that is prophecy, and that is also going to lead us closer to our redemption and Yahawashi coming back and eventually overthrowing this wicked serpent known as the Edomites and Esau, who consistently make the children of Israel suffer. Now I'm going to go into the book of Baruch here, 4 and 25, and it reads, "My children, suffer patiently the wrath that is to come upon you from Yahawashi, for thine enemy hath persecuted thee, but shortly thou shalt see his destruction, and shall tread upon his neck," which is what we are looking for. If you're not looking forward to that, I tell you what, I'm going to stomp on the necks of the Edomites that was placed under your feet, okay, if you don't want to do it. But I sure as hell, I'm looking forward for that day. Continuing, "My delicate ones have gone rough ways, and were taken away as a flock caught of the enemies. Be of good comfort, O my children, and cry unto Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahawashi, for ye shall be remembered of him that brought these things upon you. For as it was your mind to go astray from Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahawashi, so being returned, seek him 10 times more." And we were all out there in the world. We were all seeking, careers. We were all seeking money, families, loved ones, traveling, looking to see and enjoy what we see our enemies, Esau, and then these other nations are doing in these various locations that we live. If you live like me, you moved around a lot in your career, then you have seen a lot of different locations and seen how people live. And, you have sometimes a little bit of an envy, and you want to emulate them, but that's how it is. And these were all the discomfort and the mild punishment from our Father Yahweh Yahawashi, for our transgression in our past life. Now I'm going to be bringing a video to you, and this is a very interesting video. It's about 5 minutes long, so I'm not gonna I'm not gonna hold this lesson too long, because I know attention span for most people are very short. But before I get to this video, let's go into Isaiah 45 and 7. It says, "I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things." Now, I want you to think about that because of what's going on right now. Okay, we are in the light. We see what Esau is doing. We see all the wickedness, and we pay attention to the headlines, his news. Okay, and we see that he's very wishy-washy. Mind is changing. They're not collaborating together as coherently as they thought that this was going to go. And right now there's a lot of holes in their BS, and even the Edomites are even pointing this out right there, as you're going to see inside this video, a very interesting video that's coming up from Fox News. Okay, let's go into the book of Mark 3 and 24, and it says, "If a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand." Okay, now you think of a kingdom. Your household is a kingdom. You're the king. Your wife is a princess. Okay, and then you have your kids. Okay, so think about that. If you and your wife, or your woman, or if you're a woman and you and your man are fighting, you're divided. Okay, that means what? It cannot stand. All right, in this country, what do? They split it 50-50 in a divorce or whatever the case like that. So you now only living at 50% of what you were when you were together as a one whole unit. Okay, now without further ado, I'm going to bring this video out here, and I'm going to let it play for the duration, and then I'm going to go back into another scripture, okay, and then close out. All right, so bear with me.
This is becoming a pandemic of the unvaccinated.
We are seeing an outbreak
of the unvaccinated?
I want to be crystal clear about what's happening in the country today. We have a pandemic of the unvaccinated.
Okay, the echo chamber. But is that true? The Biden administration has been citing data that 99% of COVID deaths and 95% of hospitalizations are among the unvaccinated. Well, it turns out that statistic is grossly misleading, something the CDC director inadvertently admitted today.
Those data were data that were from analyses in several states from January through June and didn't reflect the data that we have now from the Delta variant. We are actively working to update those in the context of the Delta variant.
Oh, really? Well, a vast majority of this country was unvaccinated, Rochelle, for the first 4 months of the year. Thus, the numbers would obviously skew toward those dying and hospitalized being in that category. So why is the CDC skewing the data? Joining us now is Dr. Byron Bridle, Associate Professor of Viral Immunology at the University of Guelph, who has been researching the COVID vaccine. Doctor, thank you for joining us in part 2 of this interview with you. Is it accurate to now call this a pandemic of the unvaccinated? Or do you think those who are vaccinated could also be contributing to the emergence of these new variants?
Hi, Laura. Thanks for having me back. Absolutely, it's untrue to be calling this a pandemic of the unvaccinated. In fact, I would argue that, and it's certainly untrue, this flipping of the messaging to scare people into thinking that the unvaccinated are somehow driving the emergence of novel variants. This goes against every scientific principle that we understand. The reality is the nature of the vaccines that we are using right now and the way we are rolling them out are going to be applying the selective pressure to this virus to promote the emergence of new variants. Again, this is based on sound principles. We have to look no further than chemotherapy for cancers and the emergence of antibiotic-resistant strains of bacteria. The principles are this. If you have a biological entity that's prone to mutation, and the SARS coronavirus 2, like all coronaviruses, is prone to mutation. So if you have a biological entity like that, and you apply a narrowly focused, selective pressure that is non-lethal, and you do this over a long period of time, this is the recipe for driving the emergence of novel variants. And that's exactly what we're doing. Our vaccines are focused on a single protein of the virus, so the virus only has to alter one protein, and the vaccines don't come close to conferring sterilizing immunity. People who are vaccinated still get infected. It only seems to be particularly good at blunting the disease. And so what that tells you, therefore, is that these vaccines in the vast majority of people are applying a non-lethal pressure, narrowly focused on one protein. And, of course, the vaccine rollout is occurring over a long period of time. That's the recipe for driving
So that's driving
variants.
the variants. And so it's exact.
Absolutely.
Your theory is that it's the exact opposite of what they're saying, because they're trying to demonize and intimidate those who have chosen not to be vaccinated for whatever reason. So they're to blame. They should be shunned. They should be punished, denied services, and so on.
It's ridiculous. If anything, the unvaccinated are likely acquiring, probably in pretty substantial numbers, naturally acquired immunity, which I would argue from an immunological perspective is going to be much more protective than the vaccine-induced immunity against novel variants.
So, again, something the administration refuses to address head-on or accept, the idea that you have B or T cell memory immunity to this ongoing virus, and that you would not then need a vaccine, correct?
Yeah, it's shocking to me as an immunologist because basically, yes, you're correct. Essentially, our immune systems actually work. They do respond to pathogens, and they do protect us from pathogens. And there are published papers. People can look up a paper done by authors Setti and Crotty that was published in a Nature journal. And it shows very clearly, as do several very good peer-reviewed publications, they show very clearly that naturally acquired immunity against SARS coronavirus 2 is very potent, it's very long-lasting, and importantly, in the context of novel variants, it's very broad in its scope. So it's going to be very balanced. We're going to have lots of antibodies and T cells. And the thing is, it targets multiple components of the virus. And this
not
is very
just the one protein.
based on what I just said.
Yeah, not
exactly.
just the one protein. And
exactly.
That's why
so that's just it. So variants will occur. Yeah, exactly. So variants will occur that are going to be able to bypass the vaccine-induced immunity, but those viruses aren't going to be changing all the other components that people who have naturally responded are protected against.
Dr. Bridle, thank you. It's stunning how this is being sold to the American public and demonizing the people who've chosen not to be vaccinated. Thank you.
So as you can see there with that, Esau house is divided, and Yahawashi has set up his people to counteract the left, basically the left and the left versus the right. Okay. Now you can look at that also in another way, is that Esau is also playing trick against us, which is to get people even more to not get the vaccination, to resist, in order for them to bring in more and more of that draconian measure, eventually getting violent with, trying to get people to stick with that. But as you know, Yahawashi makes the perfect body. Okay, Adam was created an image of Yahawashi. Okay, we have perfect body. Our bodies have healed us. We've managed to live for 3, 4, 5, 6 decades or 7 decades, how old some of you are, without it. Okay, and you can see that they're pushing this poison out, and people are just saying, hey, you know what? Your science is garbage. They're going backtracking, the CDC, the president don't know his ass from his freaking doggone head. He can't even walk up a flight of damn stairs on his own, going on Air Force One, and so forth and so forth. Okay, let's go into the book of Corinthians 1 and chapter 3 here, starting with verse 13. It says, every man's work shall be made manifest, for the day shall declare it, because it shall be revealed by fire, and the fire shall try every man's work of what sort it is. And their work is being revealed. Okay. And when you see their work out there, where they're kind of trying to bring you all the scientific junctions and all this scientific proof and all this other stuff, it's just been repelled back, because they have so many experts out there. Remember, Edomites like to be chief. Nobody wants to be an Indian. Okay, so they all have PhDs, multiple PhDs from whatever Ivy League school they went to, and they're combating each other with the smarts. Okay, and eventually they're going to combat each other with the guns. All right, and that's where the fun begins. Continuing. If any man's work abide which he had built thereupon, he shall receive a reward. If any man's work shall be burned, he shall suffer loss, but he himself shall be saved, yet so as by fire. And we are being tried by fire. Okay, we are preaching this gospel. We are preaching this truth. We don't have anything to back us up as far as military or whatever the case is like that. So we only have faith, okay, and this Bible, and it's true. And that's what we are educating our people about, okay? Trust into Yahweh B'Shem Yahawashi. Continuing, know ye not that ye are the temple of Yahweh B'Shem Yahawashi, and that the spirit of the power dwelleth in you? If any man defile the temple of Yahweh B'Shem Yahawashi, him shall our power destroy, for the temple of our power is holy, which temple ye are. And that's our body. Okay, we don't put abomination in our body for nobody. All right, plain and simple. Take that before putting abomination in your body and offending our power. Yahweh B'Shem Yahawashi. Continue, and let no man deceive himself. If any man among you seemeth to be wise in this world, let him become a fool, that he may be wise. And who was that? Who was the latest here? The hip hop guy. Now I'm not tuned into hip hop because I don't watch these faggots of today. Back in the 80s, early 90s, I used to listen to hip hop and those guys, but these guys are all feminine fags these days, like that. So you get a couple of these hip hop guys that are sellout, and these actors and these people, who look like a Jake, who may actually be tears, who are trying to convince you to go and, play along with Esau. Okay, fuck them. When it all comes down to the end of it, okay, Esau is going to put them to death, and that's going to be Yahweh B'Shem Yahawashi putting that into Esau to put their ass to death. He's going to have no need. All your Hollywood stardom is not going to mean a damn thing. Take a look at Bill Cosby, 85 years old, and he had to go in prison. All right? So they screw away anybody. All right? You can't trust a snake. Continuing. And again, the Lord knoweth the thought of the wise, that they are vain. Okay? And these people are full of shit. See? They come right in that 5 minutes right there from the opening part of that clip. You can see where 3 idiots stood up there and talk nonsense. And then you have one guy that came and said and debunk all of them just like that. Therefore, let no man glory in man, for all things are yours. Whether Paul or Apollos or Cephas or the world or life or death or things present or things to come, all are yours. And ye are Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahawashi, and Yahawashi Hamashiach is Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahawashi. Okay, we are Yahawashis, and Yahawashi is the Almighty Yahweh. Okay, so hopefully this was edifying lesson to you, and you can review that video again, replay it. Hopefully they don't take it down, and continue to stay in this faith, all right, and this truth. Okay, and with that, I'd like to give all glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahawashi, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash. I'd like to give a double shout out to the elders and apostles and teachers of Great Millstone, and to you brothers that are putting out this truth on a daily basis, and to you brothers that are tuning in and staying in this truth and faith, and you sisters, okay, don't leave the sisters out. Shalom.